Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Packernet. JJ Leahy, Ryan Schlip, and Jake Shavink. Thank you for putting up with us taking a week off. Thank you for putting up with Jake taking several weeks off, making Ryan and me fly solo. Too old for this says we're derailing his evening of watching Sharknado 2.
Oh,
at first I thought
Shark
that was
Week.
Is it Scooby-Doo 2?
It is. It's early this year for some reason.
It was a great movie. Smitty says, evening all. Caldwell Corner says, I love when my day gets derailed. Me too, man. Me too. We prepared a topic for today, which means I know you guys are never going to let us get to it because you're going to have fantastic questions for us to get to. And that, honestly, is best case scenario. So thank you.
I'll be honest. I need you guys to derail us because I barely put any thought into this. So if we get beyond like one, I'm in a lot of trouble. So please, let's go.
That's great, honestly.
I
love that.
What's the point? They always mess us up every second.
Yeah, I know. It's like I just put this intricate list together.
Right? I got all this stuff set up here. We never get to it.
It's sick.
I've learned.
Yeah. We're going to do our wish list for the Packers this year, and I have a feeling that Ryan's just going to say, please ban the term "we fence," and then he's just.
I thought you were actually going to say the thing because it is pretty obvious, and I was like, "Oh man, now I'm really in trouble."
That's on my list.
I do have to ask both you guys and the chat, since it was such a patriotic week here. What did you do to celebrate Ed Policy Day?
Well, I will say that we made some pork belly for Ed Policy Day. So
Nice.
I was proud of that. It's kind of a new thing for us. We just recently tried it. My son's obsessed with it, so it's kind of our new thing. Pork belly. It's delicious, by the way, if you haven't tried it.
It's wonderful, wonderful. Jake, did you do anything to celebrate Ed Policy Day, or are we going to kick you off the show?
I took it as celebrating, the 4 days, was July 4th plus Ed Policy Day. So there was a lot going on,
True.
Got outside a lot, played some golf, enjoyed some fireworks, was especially taken by the green ones, of course.
Nice.
Those were Ed Policy fireworks, obviously.
Nice.
So that was great. But yeah, I mean, when you're, in Northwest Illinois, they're all over the place. You can see like 8 different ones at one time sometimes. So yeah, it's just nice to see all of the green, and to, hit a lot of greens playing golf for Ed Policy. Shout out to him. So there you go. We like that. So it was a good time. A lot of fun.
Our fireworks were pretty cool. They debuted a new type of firework I had never seen before. So they got all their normal stuff going on, and then in the middle of that, they would just flash this incredibly bright white light. It was like a flashbang just went off up in the sky, and it was like really cool. And then they do it like every 10 seconds, for about like 2-3 minutes, and we were all super bummed when they quit doing it because it was really cool. My daughter especially thought it was absolutely sick. But we did it. We grilled out, and probably 30 chickens gave their lives for our feast.
Beautiful.
Had some nice corn on the cob and baked beans and watermelon and lots of beverages. And then we got in the lake, and we never got out until the end of the day. So that was great. We just soaked all day long.
I gotta say, I am a little concerned about my youngest. I've never seen in my life a child have zero interest in fireworks. I've seen kids scared of fireworks, and then the other option is I love fireworks. This kid was just looking around, like staring at me, like, dude, over there. That's where the didn't care at all. Like, could not care any less about fireworks. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's me letting her watch too much TV. I don't know. It's not stimulating enough. These loud explosions that are deafening didn't even flinch. Just like, I'm going to stare at the sky or something. I don't know, man.
3 right
a little
now?
worried. Huh?
She 3?
Yes.
I think your youngest is the start of the generation that's going to be into the drone light shows. That's what it sounds like.
That's probably what it is.
Which, hey, when they got like eagle wings flapping, and they get like, you know, they have drones like shooting
Right.
kind of sparkler stuff. Like, okay, great.
We're going to be
All
the
in
old
on that.
fogies watching that because that's going to be the thing. Just going back in my day, you know, we had
My day, they
real
didn't have
fireworks.
these. It could make pictures like this, right? You got these brown things that that exploded in the air. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's going to be.
This was my daughter's first year actually really experiencing fireworks because she slept through them last year with headphones on, noise canceling headphones. So about like 6 o'clock, neighbors start popping some off, and she gets a little freaked out. So I just told her like, "Hey, we're gonna get super excited every time we hear one of these, and just like lose our minds." And so by the time the actual ones rolled around, she was super geeked out for it. Wasn't scared at all. So that was a success in my book.
Nice.
By the way, Ryan and Jake, I'm happy to report I finally got our background working.
Oh, okay. You know what you need?
There you
know
go.
what you need? You need this, but Ed Policy's face over it the whole time.
Ooh.
Where he's doing that.
You need
I know
AI
I know JJ can do it too.
Dang
You
you,
should.
Ryan!
You
You know
should.
exactly which buttons to push to make me do something.
You have the
Tune in
power.
next
With
week.
great power comes great responsibility, and you have a responsibility right now to make that Ed Policy by next week.
Ed Policy deep fake on top of Rick Astley.
There it is. There it is.
It's too good.
Smitty says nothing beats things exploding. I have to just push back on that. I like watching the Bears implode.
That's true.
Just saying. Oh, wait a minute. He followed up with a Bears comment. Just ask the Bears QBs and their careers exploding into oblivion. Nothing better than that. All right. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, that's
There
fair.
you go.
That's fair.
Caldwell says we need a goot liquor background. Hang on. That's not a bad
I don't
idea.
think you want that. I don't think
Hold on.
that you need the robot making that.
Please
Okay?
hold.
Oh, you don't even know.
No, you're right. I don't. You're right. This is true. I don't know.
Today is the day it finally happened. The show gets canceled.
Yep. Let's get back to Ed Policy first of his name, ruler of the Mars Cheese Castle, and all things Green Bay. Right. That's
So while this content may violate our usage policies.
See, I'm
gonna
telling
violate
you.
you, robot.
I'm telling you.
Oh, this is pretty good. Hold on. What it generated
no.
for me. It's pretty good.
Too old for
No,
this.
you're-
So what's on the
What
agenda, for
agenda?
today, boys?
what are you talking about?
This
You're
is
not
the
gonna-
agenda.
Just because there's some title and JJ said we're doing something doesn't mean there's an agenda. Too old
You
for
got
this
to.
is not
That's
new
the
here.
problem. You have to put something in the title thing, or you can't start the stream. So you
Yeah,
got to just
so
throw
we have
something
to
in
throw-
there. But don't let that fool you.
Yeah.
That
You
is
need to do it like
irrelevant.
some of the YouTube titles I see, like the league isn't ready for the Green Bay Packers who did this, and like.
By the
just
way,
put that out
M.
there. I don't
Smitty,
know
have
why
you
that
seen
gets so many
my
clicks.
my Twitter profile? Because that's literally just a goot liquor thing that I had the robot make.
I don't even remember
Go check it out.
it is right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, that's.
Now you know.
Yeah, that.
The one I let
I don't know. I don't know.
one
JJ.
of yours
wouldn't
that I
go
really
grab
liked
this.
was the
trying to
middle
go
finger
get
to the
this.
Bears.
Yeah, that
Let
was
me see.
solid.
Oh.
I think I gotta remove all of us so you guys can
But we can do a little bit of
There you
that.
Okay.
All right, here's our goot liquor.
That's solid. It's got like the Rolling Stones thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you
that's
know?
exactly how it looks. Yeah, Rolling Stones meets Green Bay Packers almost. Is this supposed to be ice?
Nice.
I'm gonna stop talking.
I believe that's saliva.
Okay. Okay. So, anyway,
It's fun. We all have to be tucked to the side so that we can have this picture up here.
yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
That's all I got of it.
what do we got? Am I? Oh, I thought we missed a bunch of comments here.
No, it's that we don't have any of them pinned. So let's see here.
We got
What's on the agenda for today?
We already covered
So-
that. There's not one. Never. Never heard of.
Smitty's
What's
told
this
never
agenda
asked that
word you
question.
speak of?
Did anyone see rumors of Bach and the Bears? That sounds like a terrible band.
I did see the
Bear.
rumors. I'm assuming it's somebody just making up nonsense.
I think it's one of those NFL rumors accounts just rolling with something, and then
Exactly.
someone picks it up and then throws it on a thumbnail on a video and goes, "Yeah, I can probably get clicks from this."
And there we go. Now we know what Ryan's gonna be talking about tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I gotta. At the very least, you have to do a little mini tirade about how stupid it is. Give it a 3-minute segment.
Yeah. 3-minute Packing Up Podcast presents What's Stupid Today.
Yeah.
A 3-minute segment at the beginning of each show. Here we
I've
go.
been saying forever,
Basically
and
derailed though.
other people have been
Yeah,
mentioning
probably.
too. That you need to have segments, and we got to get like little jingles and just be like, "What's
That
stupid
would be
today" or
good.
something. You
That
know.
would be good.
There's a show that takes itself much more seriously than we do.
Yep.
It's Marques Brownlee's Waveform podcast.
Okay.
It's him and a couple other guys, and they do like this round table where they talk about new tech, and it's a fantastic show. Much better than what we put out here quality wise.
Mhm.
On Derailed, and I'm a little envious of the little segments and jingles that they come up with, because they have a section they call like headline in a hat, and so they come up with some headlines that they saw in the week that they want to react to, and so they draw out the headline, and there's like little, some little theme show game show theme song that plays when they do it. Every time I listen to it, I'm like, dang, like how much effort would it actually take for us to do this kind of thing on Derailed?
Probably not much.
We need just like a little.
I can get us a jingle while we're doing this show.
Oh.
Just saying.
We could do a jingle about the agenda and play it about the 54th minute or so of this, and it would be perfect. It's like, all right.
So, anyways, today what we're talking about.
Yeah, let's play it like 40 minutes from now, and it would be as good as it gets right there. So
I'm a little bit stalling getting on our is that like scenes from my hat on Whose Line? Probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
He would sign with the Bears knowing full well he would never take a snap. I mean, that's what Rodgers did with the Jets last year.
Oh. Hey, there it is.
Hey-o.
There we go. There we go.
I'm slightly stalling getting into our topic because I'm hoping that people are going to come up with good questions for us so that we can stretch the interesting content out to the full hour. But I'm starting to think we're going to have to hop into our topic of the day.
It's just
people really want to hear it.
It's when we start the topic, then
That's true.
Then they'll be flooding in, I'm sure.
They really want to hear the topic, and then they hear it, and they're like, "This is stupid," and then they start asking other stuff.
When's training camp? I'm going to ask other things.
That's when Too Old for This starts flooding our comments with other questions like, "Dear God, please get off this topic of AFC NFC sister."
There you go.
Okay.
That's the one.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
That's solid. See, and now it's not saliva; it's cheese.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that they do on the Waveform podcast is they start out every episode playing a couple of random audio clips that occur later in the episode. And definitely you saying, "See, now it's not saliva, it's cheese." That would definitely make
that would be perfect.
That's a drop that needs to be
I like
here
that
for a while, I think.
I like that.
Doing a different audio intro every single week is probably way more work than I would ever be willing to do. But I could probably come up with a one-time intro, and I think that clip would make that one-time intro.
Be good. That would be
listen
good.
to every week.
Like, what? What did he
I'm
say?
just going to make a note for myself that at about minute 14 and a half,
Yeah.
so I can go back and it's going to all have to be either people submitting legendary moments from our show or me noticing stuff going forward, because there's no way I'm going to go back and listen to our old shows.
No, that's no good.
With this.
Just go listen to the one with Ramage, and I think, you'll get plenty of them from that. You probably don't need
the whole
more.
thing will be bleeped.
Yeah, you probably don't need more. You can get 15 from that show. And you'll be good.
Alrighty. Here's our what do you think someone new thinks when they join and see the cheese licking background with random topics being talked about? I think that they get a pretty accurate assessment of what this show is like.
Pretty much.
That's how we know if somebody's a real one, you know what I mean? If they come in and they stay with all this, bro, you belong here.
Yeah.
So all right, we're gonna hop into our topic for today, and it's gonna be our wish list for the Packers this year. We got to go over some rules. First of all, there's
Uh-oh.
not really rules.
Good. I was worried.
Second would be don't repeat other people's submissions unless you can make them funnier. And then third, don't make them boring or you're a bad podcaster. So we're doing it's your wish list for the Packers this season. And when I was coming up with the things I was going to talk about, I was kind of trying to stick to the realm of like decisions that the coaches could make or decisions players could make, rather than just like, I mean, you could say, hey, on my wish list is that I hope the Packers win the Super Bowl. Okay, whatever. You can say that, but you're, lousy podcaster if that's the best thing to come up with. So,
Yeah.
Everybody understand what we're doing?
Should we just get that one out of the way? I think that's on everyone's wish list, is winning a Super Bowl, and that is every year for every fan of every team. So that's there, right? It's not that for those listening, right? We're not omitting it because it's just because it's not that interesting.
Check it out.
That's on everyone's wish list for sure.
We got a commenter on X. That's pretty rare. LaFleur from my LaFleur says his wish list is 1,000-yard rusher.
Love it.
How realistic do we think that is with our backfield of Josh Jacobs, A.J. Dillon, Marshawn Lloyd? I keep wanting to call him Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lloyd. What do you think? 1,000-yard rusher in the cards?
I think if Jacobs goes nuclear for 3-4 games, then I think it's possible.
Yeah.
If he kind of does those 2022, a few of those games where he's just kind of like, yeah, I'm putting up 180. I crossed 200 somehow. This is like just he goes nuclear. Then yes. Otherwise, I just don't see it because I'm sure that the Jaden Reed, scheme touches as a quote unquote rusher are not going away. Watson's might be, making a little bit more of a comeback. So yeah, I don't see it. I think it will be difficult.
I think it largely, for me, is going to come down to Marshawn Lloyd. Because if they're going to kind of redshirt him, and we're basically back to the same situation of Dillon plus the number one guy, I think there's a shot. Because I don't know that they're going to be riding Dillon super hard because they didn't last year. So, but if it is like a three-headed monster, it's just going to be so hard to get enough touches to make that work.
Yeah.
Too old for this has got a good one.
No.
My wish list is for Preston Smith to drop into coverage.
Just put him at middle linebacker.
Here's the thing.
And the charade.
Yeah.
The Packers switched to a 3-4 in what year was that? Like 2016, something like that? What year did we switch to a 3-4?
No, it was way before that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because
Tom Capers was there when we won the Super Bowl.
That's right.
That was like,
So it's
what,
been
08
that.
or something?
Yeah.
07?
It's been a while. Long time.
Point being, the Packers switched to a 3-4, and over a decade later, the fans had still not let go of the idea of what a Packers defense as a 4-3 looks like.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, but the days of people crying about their, defensive ends actually being linebackers are apparently over now. Because we're going back to a 4-3, so
It's a shame.
probably shouldn't see Preston Smith dropping into coverage this year. Would be my guess. Although I did try and make a case. I don't know, 6 weeks ago on here about Preston Smith being the Sam, and nobody else was on board with that. So
Yeah. It's just
probably defensive end this year.
Yeah. You just throw up the gif of the guy eating popcorn going, nah, what a shame. And you're pretty much good there. That was legitimately everybody's reaction.
It's actually a pretty good question. It's not really
shift.
on topic, but that doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Because I've talked about it, but I'm not actually sure what the consensus is. So M. Smitty says, so what would be your guys' thoughts on Kenny's potential contract extension? Are we feeling like it's a slam dunk, like it's going to happen no matter what? Are the Packers like more than 50% out? Do they want to see another year?
I want to see another year. I don't want to give him any more money until we see what he looks like in this Jeff Hafley scheme.
Right.
Because although every Twitter armchair GM is quick to tell you that Kenny had the best year of his career last year and has been fantastic under Joe Barry the entire time. I don't really think that the numbers actually bear that out.
Right.
And he's been pretty underwhelming to me for basically the entirety of this current contract he's on right now. So I would like to see at least half a season, please, in the new scheme and see if it's a fit before we just throw money at him, because I just can't see it going well if we give him the money and then see what he looks like in the new scheme. Sure, I guess you get to see him in training camp, whatever.
Yeah.
The only unlikely caveat that I would throw in is if he's willing to accept a pretty low number. If he's willing to do a contract that is very team friendly, I would be okay with that to lock him up. If you obviously expect him to exceed those projections or whatever. But yeah, ideally, we don't need to pay him. Let's just give him another year to see how he looks and if he can step up and be that dude. And if he can, fine, we'll give you all the money.
Yeah, I like that. To me, I would have probably solved this a couple months ago. Moved up taken Johnny Newton early round 2 and said, we're good, buddy.
Yeah.
Have a good year. We wish you the best. Newton's our guy moving forward with Wyatt and Brooks.
Yep.
And, we're going to get Wooden in there, but obviously that did not happen, unfortunately. So, yeah, I think it's a wait and see. I would not want them to, make a move unless he's like, he's taking this just enormous cut in salary for that extension. I just think there's a lot that the elder statesmen on the defense need to prove this year in this defense. And Kenny's definitely one of them before, making any rash decisions like contract extensions. There is firmly one extension that I think we're all zeroed in on right now.
Yeah, that is our punter.
That is Bo Melton. So, is it because they're waiting for an announcer, which is on my wish list? I'm going to get to it because I mentioned him now. I want an announcer to say, and nobody catches Bo for a Bo Melton touchdown this year. That's what I want. That's what I want to see.
There you go.
So I'll lead it off like that. Lead it off with a little bloop single over the third baseman's head on the wish list.
Sorry, I'm currently looking up what TOFT means.
Yeah, I don't know either.
The only freaking thing.
Oh.
I don't think that's what it is at all. Truthfully or falsely there.
I just thought it was Zane Anderson.
Google doesn't even really know. Hold on.
Nice.
Train, organize, field, and sustain. I don't think that's it.
Timeout for trivia. Take one for the team.
Oh. Oh, man. That makes so much more sense. It's short for
take one for the team.
Too old for this.
Oh,
okay.
man.
Hey, that's my mom who commented that. Hi, Mom.
We're all dumb.
Your mom is now officially taking over the podcast.
I kept seeing that. I'm like, what
pointing
is
that
out?
She's
I kept
taking
Googling
over
it.
now.
Like, oh, it's an old English term. I'm like, is it like a British guy or something? It's Toft.
John Cena retired today, and I also saw a picture of Zane Anderson for the first time. Coincidence? Did John Cena actually retire?
I saw that. I thought it was, well, yeah, it was recent. I did see that.
He must have signed some paper because you can't see him retire, right? Like that's.
There you go.
Did he sign?
Well, he did. He did
like
do it
on
on the television. He did it in the middle of the ring as a wrestler would do.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Well, I don't see actually. To be more correct.
So I have a wish list item. I want the kicking competition to be won by Anders Carlson, and I think that it will be. I think back to the 2019 season. Mason Crosby had Sam Ficken for kicking competition, and truthfully, Sam won the kicking competition in terms of like every day he had one more made kick in practice than Mason did, but they declared Mason the winner, and then Sam Ficken went on to not really have a career after that. I think he played a half a season for the Jets, and he was terrible, and then that was kind of it. But the point being, I think that the kicking competition this year is somewhat of a charade. I mean, the money that they gave to Greg Joseph is not nothing, but I think that the job is honors to lose. I think that he clearly has the highest ceiling of anybody that they have looked at all. So that would be my hope for him to kind of hammer out the process for the extra points and then just keep developing here for the next couple of years. I'm not really interested in hopping on the kicker carousel and trying different guys every year like the Vikings and Bears did for forever. Yeah. Let's just stick with Anders. I think that he has a bright future. I think that a lot of his issues could be resolved by some more consistency in the snapping and holding operation, and then just growing his confidence, which winning the kicking competition, going up against competition all summer and winning, I think that would do wonders for his confidence. And then also just having the team continue to say like, hey, dude, we believe in you. We are willing to stick it out with you and see it through for the whole process. And like a lot of people have pointed out, his older brother Dan Carlson was not that good when he first entered the league either. And the Vikings could still have Dan Carlson right now if they had decided to be patient with him. But nope, they got impatient, and now he's been killing it for the Raiders for like a decade. So
it's a fine line to traverse with kickers. It really is. Like, figuring out like perfectly when they've lost it versus when they haven't is not something that I would like to be in a general manager seat doing, honestly.
Yeah, you're gonna look like an idiot if you let him go and he goes on to have a great career. But also, you hang on to this kicker when a bunch of like talented kickers have come through, and you keep sticking with this bum. You look stupid.
Yeah, it's just that's the one thing. Being a GM, it's just like it feels like such a simple thing, yet it is not. And just the amount of like hate the GMs get for the kicking game sometimes.
It's an interesting thought too about. Oh, I was just gonna say it's an interesting thought too about what you were saying with, building his confidence. That could end up being sort of a strategy in and of itself. Like you said, it's kind of maybe not completely a farce, but to some degree, the intention probably is for Anders to win, and as an effect, you beat these guys, quote unquote, and so you get to pull them into the office and say, "Hey, we think you're the best guy for this job." It is a confidence boost.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And JJ, to your point, really quick, I do think unless, and you mentioned it, I do think unless, Carlson gets upstaged tremendously time and time again for a month and a half, it's not, Joseph's not winning the job.
Yeah.
It's got to be something near otherworldly in terms of the difference that they see. I don't think that they're going to make a rash call because Anders has, one bad preseason game or something, or he missed a couple extra points. It's like that's something they have to work on as a unit. I know long snapper has been heavily discussed all offseason, and rightfully so. So it's just it's something that they're probably going to have to go through. Potentially, again, maybe the first half of this year is going to be a little bit like that, and people are going to have to just keep it together, right? Like they kept it together with the offense and Jordan Love, right? We all kept it together. There were no problems with that. We didn't overreact, but like it might be kind of that situation again. So, yeah, I think it's barring something crazy, I don't think we're going to see, a rash decision by this front office.
Yep.
The other lesson that I've learned is that fans have like no ability to assess what is going wrong when something goes wrong on special teams. I noticed that the fans, all over social media and in my inbox every day, after anything frustrating on special teams, I don't think that the suggestions that are being given tend to be very informed. I think special teams is just something that's hard to evaluate. Yeah. It's a little bit easier. We all understand generally how offense works, and I think to a lesser degree we kind of understand the process behind much of defense, and then special teams is just a whole different ball of wax of where, like, look, the only guy I really noticed was the punter, and then this play didn't go well and the ball was returned for a touchdown. Got to be the punter's fault, that type of thing. So I understand the frustration with Anders, but I just think that it's way too early to justify moving on. He's a talented guy, doesn't seem to be on any worse of a trajectory than any other young kicker of his age in the NFL. You look at all the young guys. Look at Mason Crosby. Mason Crosby was terrible his first year in the league. Good thing the backers didn't give up on him.
Yeah, and again, it's worth repeating that if he didn't have extra point issues, it wouldn't even be a discussion. He was completely fine. All of his field goals were completely fine. The issue was extra points, which is a big deal, but it's I don't at least for me it gives me kind of a lot of confidence because it's hard to imagine a guy can bang 50-yarders at a very consistent rate but isn't going to be able to figure out extra points. So
well, and like, what is it that you're giving up on him for at that point? Because clearly he has the leg muscle to get it down the field, which is kind of the prerequisite to like being in that upper echelon of kicker or not.
Yeah.
And so if we're just like stressing over, hey, he's inconsistent on getting extra points through, gosh, that sounds like something that you can coach. That sounds like something that can be taught because it's all mechanic and mindset, right? And the other guys who are involved in that place kicking operation. There's 11 guys on the field, and they're all crucial to getting that done. It's not just the kicker,
right?
Yeah, when you have
and that's something that
pierces wind. It's different. You can see it.
That's something that's really not even brought up is the possibility that maybe it's really not even his fault. Maybe to some degree it is, but it's possible there's another step in that link that is, it could be the snapper, it could be the holder that's causing a lot of these issues for extra points. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like you said, a lot of people point out a lot of things like they know the solution or they know the problem, and we really don't. And it's entirely possible that even if 25% of the issues on extra points are another part of the link, I mean, you get that solved, and there's no issue with our kicker anymore.
And let's rewind back to that 2019 Mason Crosby, Sam Ficken competition again. All right. Mason was coming off a pretty disastrous 2018 season. Like, obviously, the moment that sticks in all of our minds is the Lions game where he missed 5 kicks and we lost the game by like 7 points or something. And he misses 5 field goals. It's just brutal. Yeah. So then a lot of people are going into the next season saying, like, dude, get Mason out of here. Like, he's washed. His leg is falling off. Like, this is it. And then, hey, they're having what appears to be a really serious kicking competition that next summer. And the assumption by basically every average fan is, yeah, the team recognizes it's a big issue. They don't have confidence in Mason. Like, they are actively looking for a solution to replace him. Lo and behold, when the other guy technically had a better summer and made more kicks, they still stuck with Mason who then had 3 more really solid years before his leg did finally fall off, because the kicking competition was not truly designed to find a replacement for Mason. And like, hey, if you do find a replacement for him in the summer, great. Like if we are going through this, and who's the guy that the Michigan guy that we just signed off the Lions? We brought him in. Sure, he turns up to be the next Justin Tucker, and we just stumbled on him this summer. Great, fantastic. That's not really the point. That's not actually why he's here. So, just saying that to kind of address the what if of, hey, the Goody in the front office understand that Anders is a problem and we need to replace him. That's why they brought these guys in. Just there's more to it than that usually, and so thinking this is probably one of those cases, or at least hopefully is.
Yeah. Well, and to Ron's point here, like again, the kicking competition thing is not foreign, and you just brought up it's not necessarily always the intent to replace, right? I mean, every year, even when things are fine, we bring in kickers, we bring in quarterbacks, we bring in a lot of people to compete or whatever. I think the question is, how seriously are they looking to replace a guy that they just invested draft capital into and have said over and over again that they trust that he's going to get better? Again, I'm not saying he's not to blame. I obviously he's working through some stuff, but I am saying that nobody has even bothered to question whether there's another person who has some issues. That if some of the time, it's as if we assume everything else was perfect. The snapper and the holder were perfect every single time. The kicker just couldn't hit extra points. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know.
I feel like if that were the case, right, they would, they probably wouldn't outright say it, but there would be like hints from like the GM, the coach, right, special teams coach that would kind of like indicate like this is what's kind of happening a little bit. Like, Anders is going through things, or however they want to kind of speak it, where they don't outright say like he is just struggling. Like the operation feels good, but he is just struggling. And it doesn't seem like they really haven't said that completely, right? And so I don't know if it's, again, no idea. It's completely over my head with special teams. I don't know if sequencing for shorter kicks is just something that the entire operation needs versus longer kicks. I don't know how that's set up. I don't know mechanically what changes really. But it must be something in that regard for the whole operation, right? So however they get that fixed in training camp is obviously going to be something that everybody's going to be watching.
Who of you two guys, who else has some wish list items?
Ryan, do you want to wait on theirs?
Yeah, we'll wait on mine, see if it needs to come to me or not.
Okay. Otherwise, you could go if I have yours. That's the other thing. If either of us have yours.
I've got like 5 bad ones I can fall back on, so we're good.
I feel like Ryan's still trying to think of what his one is that he's
it's
hinting at.
You want to make it interesting, right? That's the goal. So you're waiting to think if there's more there. So my wish list at the top of my list is, as the camera zooms on me for some reason, big time, is to rotate a ton of guys at the nickel position all year.
Interesting.
So I think
what's the reason for that?
Well, I think the reason is because I think most of us would kind of say is that Keyshawn Nixon, I feel like it's very up and down. I think there are some splash plays that he can get involved in, and I'm sure that Hafley is thrilled to have somebody who's like 5'10", 200 playing the nickel position where, in an aggressive defense, to have that kind of guy, flying downhill, excellent. In terms of the coverage, I'm really interested to see how they make the approach, because I think you have a guy in Javon Bullard, who we've talked about, who can play there, right? The entire safety room that Green Bay drafted essentially in April can all play the nickel position if asked to. So I would love to see, Green Bay say, okay, in this situation we'd like Oladapo there because he's bigger, he's more physical, or we like the temperament which Evan Williams approaches the game. We like him here. Or the mind on Javon Bullard is so good for matchup X or for Series X that we want to have him in this position to make a play or two. I just would love to see Hafley say, like, yeah, we've got, 4 or 5 guys who can play nickel, and we're just going to see how it goes. And you might see a lot of these guys one week and not the next. I just would love to see a lot of guys get that opportunity, and would love to see if guys getting a certain opportunity, changes based on the matchup each week. Because I think they have built – a safety room that could potentially take advantage of certain matchups based on certain skill sets that these defensive backs have. So I would love to see it. I think each guy brings, perhaps a little bit different approach to the game. And so I would be thrilled if that's what Hafley is going to roll out this year.
All right.
No questions. Not all at once. Not all at once. Hold.
I like Keyshawn specifically in the slot and kind of nowhere else. Kind of like I liked Rasul on the boundary and nowhere else. I think that if Javon Bullard can step up and demonstrate that he can play that nickel spot real well,
yeah,
that's great. I think we're also going to need him at strong safety as well. So
I think so.
My prediction would be that you'll see guys cycling through there more as the season goes on, assuming everything is going well on the defensive side of the ball, as Hafley and his various DB coaches feel comfortable that the guys understand their responsibilities, understand how the scheme actually works, that as that familiarity grows and the confidence grows, that you would then see guys moving through. And like, obviously, I think they'll be trying to have the defense be more multiple as the season goes on anyways. So that would make sense that they'd be cycling through there.
Could Anthony Johnson Jr. make an appearance where he has played a lot? Also an option.
I think that there's a number of positions on the team, and nickel is one of them, where it's kind of wide open because we have so many guys who could do something, haven't consistently yet, and you got to figure that at least one of them is going to break out there. So it's probably not really fair to give Johnson a significantly lower chance of doing just that, just because he's a late round pick, than you would say Bullard or Evan Williams or somebody who is an earlier pick but hasn't, been here at all.
Yeah, let him compete.
You're all going to be real upset when Kalen King wins that spot.
Another option presents itself.
I don't even think that's really a feasible thing because that's not his thing. But I like Kalen King. I want him to get a shot somewhere.
I feel like there's been a couple of guys in recent years who surprisingly popped up at a spot that we never really projected that they would, and then just kind of locked it down.
Like Keyshawn?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, kind of.
For both positions that he plays?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Slot and kick returner?
Man, we need a
kick returner.
Keyshawn.
Definitely, yes. But Ryan, I want to make sure you get the credit, even if you don't remember it.
Yeah.
That when we first picked up Keyshawn, you were the one who pointed out, like, dude, if you filter through to the 7th page of his PFF charts, you find out he's elite at specifically one thing, and it's just playing slot corner, and it's a sample size of 32 snaps, but he was a 99 grade.
Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other one that came to mind for me was Zach Tom at right tackle. That was on no one's radar. Sure. And now it's borderline blasphemous to suggest moving him off of right tackle to somewhere else.
True.
And I vividly remember as a rookie, we get into these heated debates about all right, look, he can only play on the left side, but is he a left guard or a left tackle? He's one of those two and nothing else. But which one is he? And you're an idiot if you disagree with me. Yeah. And now it's how dare you suggest we move him from right tackle to somewhere else?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fair point because, like I said, with Kalen King, it's no, he's strictly a boundary guy, so we shouldn't explore it. It's well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, most likely, but you never know.
Yeah.
Right. So, do I like
Also,
the idea of him playing against Amon-Ra St. Brown twice a year? No, not really.
I could save it as a wish, but since it would seem kind of lazy to just more or less expand on what you said, I think it was today's podcast or yesterday's or whatever. I was talking about how we could potentially have all three safeties starting, even though I've said that it's impossible. Where one plays the quote-unquote bullet position, call it Oladapo. You got Bullard in the slot and Williams playing safety next to Xavier McKinney. Yeah. And again, it seems ridiculous, but at the same time, who's not going to win that job? You telling me like Williams, a 4th-round pick, can't beat AJJ? That seems like a thing that definitely could happen. Yeah. And Bullard certainly could beat Keyshawn.
For sure. I think an argument in favor of what you're saying is that like the biggest competition to take one of those roles in theory would be a cornerback, but most of our corners, with the exception of Jair, who we don't really want inside because we'd rather have him outside.
Yeah.
And Keyshawn, who we only want inside. But like everybody else they're kind of like strictly boundary guys. So, if we're saying we're not going to move Jair and we are hoping to improve from Keyshawn, well, we don't see Carrington moving inside. We don't see Kalen King moving inside. We don't see Stokes moving inside.
No.
So you're probably looking at one or two of those guys playing on the boundary on any given play.
Yeah.
And kind of a wide open competition to get some of those snaps in the middle of the field.
Yep.
Especially close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible that we get to a point for sure where Evan Williams is responsible for a deep half. Not that Bullard couldn't be responsible for a deep half, but Bullard's so darn good at nickel that that's kind of what they roll out. And then Oladapo just gets things done in big moments, right? Where they need him in certain situations.
Like in the specific scenario I brought up, you could have Oladapo playing as sort of like a weak side linebacker, which you could say, well, then he has to compete with the other linebacker. Well, not really. I mean, if Hafley specifically wants a safety to play that position, even situationally, it doesn't have to be base defense, then you're going to see that situation. So you're good. Bullard won the job. Even if you say like Oladapo is our safety, okay, but in that package, he rolls down into the linebacker position. Who's going to go up there? You could have. So again, I'm sitting here saying, hopefully we at least have like one guy Bullard playing safety. I doubt it's going to be more than that, but if you really think about it, it's not impossible. All three of these guys, partially because hopefully they're talented, but also partially because we just have vacancies. If you want a safety to play linebacker, who's it going to be? If you want a guy to play slot, who's it going to be? If you want somebody next to Xavier, what are our options? Not a ton.
Yeah. It's also going to hinge somewhat on the assessment of the personnel we have on the roster. So like at Ohio State, Hafley really liked having a bunch of true linebackers on the field because they were 6-7 deep at linebacker, like really good linebackers. Yeah. And looking at our current roster makeup, I think most of us are a little bit hard pressed to say with confidence that we feel like we have three linebackers that you can trust to be out on the field.
Right.
And kind of a lot of bodies in that safety room that you're excited about. So
for sure.
Right.
For sure.
And it also would go to like let's just say hypothetically there was a plan to use a lot of safeties. That would explain why we went so heavy at safety. If it's a big priority and we don't have any, you go pretty heavy into it. So that could potentially play into that as well.
Yeah.
So I got another wish list item. Okay. I would like to see the Packers move on from the H-back dream, but start doing more true 12 personnel with Musgrave and Kraft out there together and throw to the tight ends a lot. That's what I really like to see. So go out there with a real heavy look. We got Musgrave and Kraft. We got Jacobs. Maybe we also got another running back out there too. But then, bam, Musgrave is the guy getting the ball 15 yards down the field. Just pitch it to the tight ends a lot this year because, look, we got a lot of wide receivers that we really like, and you feel confident that anytime you're going out there in 11 personnel, it's going to work, and it's going to be real nice like we saw at the end of last year. But I'd like to be able to beat teams other ways too, and I think if you can play some bully ball in 12 personnel and really run over people, you're setting yourself up for some real nice play action throwing to Luke Musgrave. Get that blazing speed running up the seam. That's what I want to see.
It is not to play off this, but I had like kind of this where I put like destroy people from 13 personnel on there, where it's just like, hey, if Lloyd and Musgrave and Watson are 3 of those guys on the field, you are explosive from 13, and they have to respect all of it, which is just insane to think about. So like I would love to destroy some defenses from 13 this year. Where it's just Are
you saying that you're playing Marshawn Lloyd at tight end?
No.
Or are you saying you have Ben Sims or somebody on the field?
Yeah, you have Sims on the field. Okay. You're in 13. Just Lloyd's the back, not Jacobs in a certain situation, right? Where you feel like they have to pay attention to a lot of things right now because Lloyd's explosive in the run game. We see what he can do once he's got the ball in his hands. They've sent him, USC sent him on the perimeter a few times, right, to get open. And once he's in the open field, have fun. You're not going to on defense, right? So, and then you have your Watson and Musgrave part of this situation where enjoy that too. Enjoy,
but you're forcing them in base because you got 13 personnel out there,
and then the linebackers, got a Formula One car running past him at tight end, going, "What happened here?" Like I don't. This guy can run. Like it's
If you're not playing the 2 teams in the league who have good linebackers,
right? Exactly.
Good luck covering Musgrave.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, like seriously. So that's I know the Eagles are trying stuff at linebacker right now. They had to fix some stuff. Their linebackers were atrocious. Watch the Arizona game. Just watch the linebackers have no clue what to do. And in that Arizona game, what did the Cardinals do? They had tight ends on the field, a bunch of tight ends on the field, and they were flexing them out. Guess who can do that?
Yeah,
Musgrave and Kraft probably. If you wanted both to do that,
well,
just mess with them like that would be awesome.
And to be fair, we got killed with that.
Right.
That was the whole issue that a lot of people had with the whole 3-4 thing. Is we come out in base, they flex them out. We come out in nickel, they bring them in tight and run the ball. Like it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing. And you're right, we have guys maybe better than most that can do that, especially with the speed of Musgrave and the power of Tucker and whatnot. And we got massive running back. That's the other thing. Marshawn Lloyd, you mentioned, like he's elusive and can do all these things. He's a big dude though.
Yeah, he is.
Like if we decide to run it, he's a freaking hammer.
Yeah.
So I mean that's good stuff.
Dangerous stuff. No. But to even foil JJ's point as well, I know he said get rid of the H-back. I would love to see them have a couple packages where they go, we're a little positionless. Let's put Jaden Reed at running back, right? He can kind of do both. Hey, we got Kraft who might be a little bit of an H-back, but he can go out in the slot, so you better go catch him over there. And, you have Jacobs and Lloyd who can catch the football out of the backfield. And it's like, what if they go out wide? You have to say, but they're coming back in. And they can do a lot of those things where you can effectively not ending the H-back, but you're essentially just being like Tucker Kraft can just kind of do that. We don't need to find this specific player to be that. We have a guy who can kind of be that person. So to have 13, but also be like, we got some positionless players on offense is just fires the imagination.
And that's the good thing about Jordan finally getting on the same page, and more so getting on the same page with Matt LaFleur, is the ability and flexibility to say, situationally, move the pieces around. Right? I called this, but if they come out in this, shift them out. Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? So, no matter what, we have pieces, and that's why they do this. That's why you get guys that are positionless or can do different things, because regardless of what the defense is. I mean, it's kind of like what Rodgers always wanted to do, right? He's constantly changing the plays because he wants to see what you're doing. We move the pieces around. We call the other play. So you start getting into that stuff, man. That's gonna be fun.
The other thing I really want
linebackers in conflict all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's the goal.
Mess with their heads all afternoon.
Just get them pissed all day.
Yeah.
I'd also like to see them throw to the running back a lot again. Jacobs is an underrated receiving back, and I really like the sort of desperation that it puts the defense into when they're trying to lock down your receivers and your tight ends, and then, oh, dang, the speediest running back on your roster is the guy with the ball in his hands, and it just kills you, and it puts the linebackers into such conflict, to your point, Jake. So I would like to get back to that. Like, obviously, sort of the high water point in all of our memories for that would be the 2019 season where Aaron Jones was basically the entire offense.
Yeah. And
we were just killing linebackers every week because you can't cover him with a linebacker. And they kind of got away from that in the last couple of years. So I'd like to bring that back.
Yeah.
Could we compromise on the H-back thing where Tucker and Musgrave stay either in line or split out, but we get you just get like Dylan or something stupid to do an H-back thing? Would that be a fair compromise?
So the last year especially, but the last 2 years, I think that we spent a lot of time in the summer talking about two back sets. We really wanted to see Dylan and Jones out there at the same time. And Matt LaFleur was basically like, dude, that's the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. I hate it. I'm never doing it ever. So
everything we love, he hates. Every time we have an idea, it's like, no, that's stupid. We're never doing that.
Basically.
I can't believe you asked that question.
What the heck does that mean? Do I murder people?
I don't know what that means at all.
I think you just called me a murderer.
I guess.
Ryan is the voiceless victim. I am the voiceless victim, and I demand to be called as such.
Can you be a voiceless victim when your entire career is a podcast and you're talking to a mic? I mean, isn't a voice kind of the only thing you have?
Oh,
I mean, we like basically just in the last.
Listen, Florio says I'm a voiceless victim, so I get to claim it. Okay, if Florio says I can be a voiceless victim, then I'm a voiceless victim.
What did Florio say?
This is on the podcast. I was just talking about the whole thing with DirecTV.
Oh,
and he was whining about people that, what about the voiceless victims that didn't get to pay that would love to have had the service? They're the voiceless victims in all this. And it's like, oh, you freaking dork. Fine, I'm a voiceless victim because I would love to have had it, but I just decided it would be fiscally irresponsible. I'm a voiceless victim. The dumbest crap I've ever heard in my life.
Voices. Say it, Mike Florio, that is a guy with a face for radio, let me tell you.
No.
Too.
He doesn't have the takes. He doesn't have the takes for radio.
I don't know, man. He's made a lot of money with his takes, so
that's true. It's hard to criticize people that make a lot more money than I do doing this stuff.
Right?
It's never stopped me with Bayless.
I hate that guy. He's the worst podcaster. Really? How many listeners does he have? Oh,
dude's making $10 million a year or whatever.
How many do you have? Forget about it, man. It's not the point. I do it with integrity and originality. And
yeah, that's always the worst with like musicians and stuff. It's like, well, yeah, but my music is like original and soulful, and so people just don't appreciate it.
My music's from the heart. Taylor Swift is all canned. I mean,
yeah, right.
That's why I'm better than her.
Not to defend Taylor or anything, but yeah, she's better than all of you. So there you go.
Yeah. Do you have private jets? No.
Yeah. How many do you have? She has 4.
She's like, I can't hear you. I'm crying in my private jet.
Yeah, right.
Soundproof.
But you're hurting the environment. Sorry, I couldn't hear that. This jet engine is running. Okay, sorry, I couldn't hear that. What'd you say? Oh man.
Ryan,
Yeah.
come on. You've kept us waiting long enough. Give us your wish list
Oh,
item.
right.
Pick the worst one and do it.
Okay, here we go. I want the defense to live up to expectations. And I don't mean like top 5 or anything like that. I'm talking about, there's all this talk about being tough, being, multi-dimensional, confusing, the blitz packages, all that stuff. We've been hearing about it nonstop. We got to see it. Because not only are the fan base, I understand like there's some level of, as soon as somebody backs off, everyone's going to throw a fit. Oh, here we go again. Like, that's a part of it. You're going to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you got to give us what you promised. Because if we go out there and start getting pushed around and, it looks like the same soft defense that we've had forever, and I don't just mean soft in terms of, like, playing off coverage. I'm talking about they're just getting beat up by the team across from them. We're all going to just immediately fall off and be like, and it's not just going to be us, it's going to be the players too, because they've been through this enough times to where it's like, oh, here we go again. So I just want them to deliver. I want to see guys being schemed the same way Matt LaFleur does for the offense to get to the quarterback, because there's some creative stuff this guy's done with other teams to where you watch it and it's like, holy crap, like there's nothing that offensive line could have done. So I'm just hopeful. I'm tired of being hopeful and being let down. So I'm hopeful that this time they can actually deliver.
Yeah. Hopefully McKinney, I think, is the voice in that room and just kind of like says, guys, aren't you tired of this?
Right.
Aren't you tired of the Lions pushing you around the last couple of years?
Right.
How about we put a stop to it right now? And it's like, again, I know the Lions are going to be tough to defend. There's no doubt about that. But bring the extra bit of mentality at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's gonna be the one thing where it's just at some point, just that stop taking it. Enough. Just
right.
Go hit somebody over the middle. Let them know you're gonna be here all day, and strike some fear in somebody, because it just seems like everybody definitely paints the Packers of recent memory, essentially, not to throw another comparison out, but just kind of like how the Blackhawks played in the 2010s, where it was like very finesse. They got it done their way, that way. And when they started to get pushed around, everything kind of fell apart. Like, don't be the finesse team out there.
Way to make a reference that nobody understands.
Probably.
I was going to say.
Probably not.
Probably
not.
But it was under of hockey games that Ryan and I have watched combined since the 2010s at like 1.5.
I was gonna say when I was back in the 90s, man, I was a Blackhawks fan, but I have not watched hockey since.
So
I will say the 2023 Packers weren't like that. They weren't getting pushed around. You had a couple of games in the early middle of the season where the offensive line was really getting pushed around.
That's true.
But like we finished the season with the consensus opinion that the guys we had on the offensive line weren't good enough anyways. That like this is a serious problem that needs to be addressed from a talent perspective. It's not a mentality perspective. The rest of the offense I don't think is soft that way. The defense, sure, but like, hey, we fired basically all of our defensive coaches, brought in a ton of young guys, brought in new coaches who, like, I mean, frankly, I'm so scared of Anthony Campanile screaming at me that I'm about to get out there and do some blocking. So,
Yeah.
Like, the worst possible thing that we could see would be for them to trot out there and just kind of do the same thing that we've been used to. And that was kind of the crazy thing with the Joe Barry defense was we brought him in and like nobody was really enthused about Joe Barry as a coach, but you at least thought it was going to be really different. Hey, this is a new scheme. They're going to do the Vic Fangio thing.
Yeah.
He seems like a real charismatic type of leader, like really engaging, gets these guys all fired up. and in year one is kind of cool, but then year two, it's like, hold on a second, this is the exact same defense that was here Mike Pettine's last year.
Yeah.
Like, there's no difference on any given down and distance. I can tell you exactly what look they're going to be in because they're very predictable, and I also know exactly how they're going to get pushed around.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it, too, is because obviously there were some difference, and players just seemed worse, but it was no noticeable difference. From our perspective, it looks the same. I don't see anything. We're all expecting this thing, so I think that's part of it, too, is just from a fan perspective, optically, I just want to look at it and be like, dude, that's dope. Like, I love that. It didn't work, but that was cool, and I can't wait for that to the first time we see the frickin' slot come stunting inside, or the first time we see a safety come screaming down the field, just all this different stuff. Even if it's not working, I'm just going to sit back and be like, oh, this is beautiful. I frickin' love it. Like, I don't care if it's not working, because I'm looking at it going, they'll figure it out. By mid-season, we're just going to be killing people. I love this so much.
Yeah.
I have another wish list item here.
Okay.
But Jake, do you have any more? 'Cause we got time for like maybe 2 here before we got a boogie.
I could get a quick one in with Dontavian Wicks 1,215 wish list.
15, huh?
Yeah.
1,215 yards. Nice.
For sure. Yep.
It's very specific of you.
Yes. There you go. There you go.
By the way, we got Stephen A. Smith in the comments here. Didn't know he liked our show.
He's a big fan, yeah. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show that I would love to get part of his reported 5-year, $125 million contract that he's about to sign.
Yeah.
So, would love to have you on.
All right, I'm gonna rapid fire just a couple quick ones.
Mm-hmm.
One is I want Jordan Love's new contract to be at least 5 new years, not 4.
Okay.
Be nice.
2 is if there is a rough patch this season, similar to the last 2 years, I would like to see more Brian Gutekunst. They've been, they've been making Matt LaFleur as the head coach the face of the organization, and I get it. But like, he doesn't do so well under pressure with the media. He doesn't project this sense of calm the way that Goody does.
Yeah.
And there have been numerous times over the last 2 years where, it's hitting the fan and it's frustrating and fans are kind of losing it, understandably. And I just think to myself, like, gosh, it would be awful nice to be hearing from Brian Gutekunst right now and hearing, hey, here's why I feel like we should, feel confident about this plan to be patient with the young guys, keep letting them develop, because I see this week-to-week progress that is making me encouraged, and I still believe in the plan that we have set forth for these reasons. Like, Matt LaFleur wears his emotions much more so on his sleeve. I don't like him as the face of the Packers organization as much when things aren't going well. So that hopefully it doesn't come to that. Hopefully, there's no need, because it's just smooth sailing, and LaFleur can be up there cracking jokes at the camera and being all happy and everything, and it's great. But when things are not going well, Matt LaFleur is kind of one of the last guys I want to hear from, because he's like more upset about everything than I am.
Right.
But also not coming at it from a hey, we're going to get better standpoint, but like if I knew what to do, man. And you're just like, dude, I almost wish that you just weren't talking at all. Like, go.
That is brutal when he says
I
that.
trust you can fix this. But I trust it more so when I don't see your face. Like, go into the back office and figure it out, motivate your guys, and then come on out and put a great product on the field, because I know you're going to get there eventually.
Yeah.
But
if I
in
knew what to do, we
time,
wouldn't be in this situation is the least reassuring phrase ever.
right?
But you know what? I will say it makes it, coaches seem human a little bit. You know.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
not
if
looking. I'm not
you
looking for
know.
human in that. I'm just looking
I
for
get it.
reassurance.
I get
You know what I mean?
gotcha.
Like, just be like, bro, chill. I'm freaking. You know who I am? I'm Matt LaFleur. I got Jordan Love as my quarterback. If you think we can't do it, you're an idiot. All right, we're gonna freaking torch these people. Just
Like,
lie to
Goody
me, Matt.
Matt sounds like a guy who's just completely lost the golf swing, and he's like, man, I've looked online, I've recorded myself. What do you want? I can't make these short putts, man. Can't make any of these putts, and so that's what it sounds like to me. I stink. I don't know what else to say. No, but two things on the floor besides that. One, just send the robot out saying, I have declined to speak to media. That would be perfect, right? Just set a phone on the table with the robot, play that. Two, Ed Policy needs to get in here and say, yeah, let's go speak. And I believe that he's going to do that.
Dude, get policy involved. I'll fall in line real fast.
In now. But yeah, policy's like, Goody, you're getting out there, okay? You understand me? None of this hiding stuff. You're out there too.
If policy steps up and says we're going to be okay, I have no worries.
Yeah.
See,
Ed Policy's like the ultimate fixer. He's like, I can fix putting yips, and Matt LaFleur's like, all right, sweet. Because I'm saying stuff out there, and
we need policy to go speak to Anders, man. That's what we need.
There it is.
Give him a little pep talk.
Yes. Yeah.
See, LaFleur is a smart guy, and he does actually have it all handled. But I don't think he's that good with the media. I think that's his problem.
Yeah.
And so he wears his emotions on his sleeve, which you don't ever want to do with the media. No. And then Goody, you never know if he's having a horrible day or the best day of his life. He's just very
same guy every time.
Yeah.
He comes out, it's like, I don't know, maybe the NFL, caught somebody doing something they shouldn't have at 1265. They're like, that's it. We are docking you your entire 7th round worth of picks next year in the draft. And Goody's going to come out with a little smirk on his face. He's like, what's going on, guys? We got some stuff cooking. Not going to tell you what it is.
A little drink of water.
Yeah. Water. And then,
we lost 7th round picks. You think I can't get those back? Okay.
Yeah.
He takes a sip of the water, and Matt LaFleur's on the other side saying, well, first of all, it all starts with me. I take full responsibility. I'm sorry.
He's screaming from the back. I take full responsibility. It's on me.
I don't know what to do without these 7th round picks, man. They're the backbone of our team, and now we don't have them. I don't know what to do.
Goody's like trying to figure out how he can get the next Myles Garrett to fall to the 7th round.
Yeah. No, Goody, even last offseason, Goody, in like the calmest way, general manager spoke his way to be like, hey, Aaron, can you call us real quick?
Yeah.
That'd be good. I know you're out of the darkness. You already said, can you call us? Yeah, right now. That'd be great.
I know you're getting my messages, Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
not going to freak out. That's Matt's job. I'm just telling that I know the messages are there.
How would Ed Policy have handled the Aaron Rodgers not returning phone calls episode, huh? I feel like he would have driven to Rodgers' darkness retreat with a golf club and a phone and put the phone in his hand and said, hey, Goody's calling right now. Pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone. Ed Policy is vengeance.
It's for you.
Oh, man. Ed Policy would have stepped in a few off seasons ago, but yeah. San Francisco, we'll take 3. Yeah, we'll take 3 and some more.
Thomas Dawson says Goody reminds me of a Terminator. Can't be bargained with, can't be reasoned with. He doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear.
Imagine if Policy's also like that and they have 2 Terminators.
I'm really excited for the Ed Policy photo I have queued up for this outro, by the way. It's going to be
2 Terminators and a guy figuring out the golf swing, baby. That's what it is. What a room.
Yeah.
What a room.
All right, I got one last wish list item. If you guys don't have anything else you want to get in there,
go for it.
And we're gonna close this out. All right, we have a few guys on this roster who've been hanging out in Green Bay for too long without contributing anything. And I want to give these guys like 1 week in training camp to show something cool. And if they can't, Samori Toure, hit the road.
I wonder who they are.
He's still on the team? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, go ahead.
Got too many loafers just collecting a paycheck, and I'm
training camp.
It's time, man.
This is JJ showing up to training camp, and there's just 8 guys sitting out there, and he's like, "I need to feel something, okay, or you're out." Like that's it. That's what it is. That's what this.
JJ's going to go to training camp and sit in the stands with a T-shirt that says "Samora, you suck."
I want Ed Policy to walk out there onto the practice field holding a pink slip and say, "Listen, I'm looking for somebody to give this to."
This is
Who's going to earn this today, huh, boys?
He starts playing hangman with filling the name out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pick a letter.
Yeah.
The fans are picking the letters from the stands as he's just sitting there.
They're all screaming letters.
S. I know it.
No, I know.
I solved the puzzle.
The rest of the fans would want to boot out Royce Newman, but Royce can stay here as long as he wants, as long as Samori Toure and Alex Mabu are on the roster.
There's a
You're
pecking
gonna cut
order
Royce
here.
before you cut a 38-year-old quarterback converted to wide receiver. Like, seriously?
We're not doing this. Others have tried this before. He's not Julian Edelman, okay? All right? He's not.
We're going to have to check in on JJ when we start seeing articles being written about Samori Toure is quietly having a good camp.
Those are the best articles. Those are the best articles. These guys in year 3 have shown nothing. He's in the best shape of his life. That's sick. Is he running a marathon or is he playing ball? Like, yeah.
I rolled my eyes so hard last year when the wide receiver coach or somebody started talking about like Samori Toure is in the best shape of his life.
All right.
And then there was this highlight early last summer of like, whoa, Samori Toure just made this sick catch. And it was like, he's wide open by himself. The ball is like perfectly placed. And he like leaps up in the air and contorts himself and then falls down out of bounds. And everybody's like, he's so acrobatic. And it's like, dude, if you just kept running, you could have just caught it and taken it to the house.
Yeah, he's like the guy who's like, hey, there's this straight path to get out of this maze. And he's like, I'm not doing that. I'll find the other way. It's like, oh.
Thomas Austin, I'm not gonna put your comment on there. All right, I see we wrote justice for somebody. It should be justice for JJ. All right.
Goody's just sending out some more propaganda to get a 7th.
Yep,
that's what he's.
That's
doing.
all that
he's
is.
Like, you want to give up that Mr. Irrelevant pick? I will take it.
Well, it's happened again. You've wasted another perfectly good hour listening to us here on Packernet Derailed.
You stupid bastards.
Thank you so much for listening to us and hanging out with us. Look forward to seeing you next week here on the Packernet Podcast Network. Until next week, in the words of the late, great Mr. Ed Policy, go Pack Go.